The day after, here we are. Trade deadline yesterday, all sorts of fireworks around the league. Whether you liked what the Blue Jays did, didn't like what they did, or are still just kind of processing it. You know what? They did fill areas of need. I will give credit there. We're obviously going to dive in here. Hello and welcome to the Walk Off. I'm Scott Belford, joined as always by the best co host in the biz, Adam Mack. We've got all sorts of stuff to talk about. So we are going to get into all of the moves and how the Blue Jays shape up after this deadline. We're going to start with three studs and a dud. Going to look back on the week, and Adam's going to give his opinion on who the top three Blue Jays were and who the dud was. And it's funny because we've been dealing with such a good team lately that there's been very little negativity. Well, this may change this week as they did get their hats handed to them by the Baltimore Orioles. So we'll see what
Mhm.
Adam thinks there. Then we'll dive into the trade deadline. We're going to bring in our intern, our editor, our back of the podcast worker extraordinaire, we'll call him. Matt's going to join us for 10, 15 minutes as we talk trade deadline. I know that he gave us his opinion on prospects and who he wouldn't move. So he's happy right now. None of the prospects that he wouldn't have moved. So we'll see his opinion on that. We're going to do a little bit of a moment of silence for the Minnesota Twins. Now, normally we would save this for MLB Mondays, but I did think that it was worth bringing up because the truth is, had the Blue Jays not signed Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in April, and the season had gone a little differently than it is right now, we may be staring down the barrel of a very similar situation in Toronto. So we will touch on the Twins. We'll break down the Blue Jays schedule. We're down to the last 52 games. We're not going to break down every series, but we are going to take a good look at September because that is going to decide a lot when it comes to where the Blue Jays wind up finishing, who they're playing in the playoffs, and some of those scenarios. Uh, how does Varsho and Santander fit into this new lineup now that the deadline has come and gone? And then finally, the Blue Jays back in action tonight against the Kansas City Royals. So before we dive in here, I will do our housekeeping, if you will. Baseball Town. Very excited about this. August 7th, new venue at Left Field Brewery in Liberty Village. We have from MLB.com Keegan Matheson, good friend of the show, was actually texting with him today. Hopefully he can spare 15, 20 minutes here early next week and come on and kind of join the podcast, and then you can see him live on Thursday. We also are talking with Ben Schulman, play-by-play announcer for Sportsnet Radio, and has been filling in for Buck pretty admirably here and there on television. And then, as if that's not enough, formerly of Tim and Friends, now doing plenty of work on Sportsnet The Fan 590, Jesse Rubinoff. So tickets for that, if you use the code BASEBALL, are only going to cost you $20. Ticket link for that is going to be in the comment section and the description. It should be a very good show. We are moving tickets like crazy. Hopefully, we've got a good 80 to 100 of you there. Should be a good little party. And then, last but not least, please hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you very much to everyone who has done that. I know our subscribers over the last week have gone up by almost 100, so appreciate all of you who have done that. Thank you very much. And then also a shout out here. I'm actually on the ball for a change. New Patreon member Christopher Molina and new Patreon members Nick Goodies. Thank you very much for joining the gang. On that,
Thank you, thank
throwing
you.
it over to you here, Adam. Three studs and a dud. What we're looking like.
Three studs and a dud. We'll keep this one brief this week. I know we got a lot to dissect with the trade deadline and all the fallout from that. So, three studs and a dud. Number three this week, Gary Gossman had himself a good week. 6 innings pitched. I think he went. Was that the game? That was the game against Tarek Skubal.
Yes.
Went head to head with Skubal. Didn't
Yes.
blink. Six shutout innings, 10 strikeouts versus one walk. didn't get the win, but we won it in the bullpen innings. So
Yes. So no
uh,
decision, but literally to go head to head with Cy Young Award winner from 2024 and
there you go.
probably, arguably, anyways, the best pitcher in all of baseball. Pretty darn good.
Stud number two goes to a guy named Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who had himself a week with a couple of dingers, two
Ooh,
home
he's
runs,
hot.
five RBIs, 370 batting average, and an OPS of 1.189. Love when an OPS starts with a one dot.
That'll do.
Stud number one this week, three home runs. What? Nathan Lucas.
Nathan Lucas, man. Right? Why do we need Stephen Kwan? We've got Stephen Kwan at home.
Three home runs for Nathan Lucas, a 185 batting average. So not the best contact this week for him, but when he was hitting it, he was putting it out. It's hard to hit three home runs in a week and not end up as the number one stud. So there you go. Honorable mention goes to, man, there's a lot of options here, but Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette had zero home runs, but he did have a 438 batting average, a 1.002 OPS. A 438 batting average. I know it was a real hot streak there where I think it was like 9 at-bats in a row with a hit.
Yeah, he broke the
That'll
Toronto Blue
help.
Jay. He broke the Toronto Blue Jays record for most consecutive hits with 9, and it was really funny because those last 3 or 4 hits he got were just like the ball had eyes, like they were just
Sometimes that's
missing
what it
like
takes.
little loopers over the shortstop's glove, just missing a guy's glove by like an inch and plopping behind
Yeah.
him and just like
Hey, you know what?
rolling through the infield. Yeah, so.
How she goes, man. Sometimes you're smoking the ball and they're making good plays on you, and sometimes you're falling backwards into a base hit. So
Mhm.
either way, he did lead the team in RBIs this week as well with 8. So
Which is
great
on
week
par for
for
him as
Bobichette.
he leads the team in RBIs for
There you go.
the year. So there you go.
Dud this week, former Blue Jay Chad Green.
Hmm.
Don't really need to spend too much time on him. RIP Chad Green. Dishonorable mention goes to Chris Bassett.
All right, yeah, and that's fair. It did kind
Tough,
of crack
tough
me up.
outing, but
Yeah, it did kind of crack me up that, we talked about how Chad Green, depending on the ads, might actually survive. And then he proceeded to go out and just pitch the worst I've ever seen him
we jinxed
pitch.
him.
And he wasn't great to begin with, right? So, whew.
He was fine. I know last Friday we talked and it was like the two appearances he made after that were terrible.
Hmm.
We made the Dominguez trade. He was expendable. But also like the 8 appearances before that were all shutout innings.
Yes.
So he struggled with the long ball this year and really struggled with it over the weekend. So like, what are you gonna do?
He
They
is
made
one guy where I am. It's just a really intriguing decision by this front office to pick up his 2 year, $22 million option back at the beginning of 2024. And I'm not shitting on it or anything like that. Like, obviously, hindsight's 2020. It was an expensive price to pay for a guy coming off of injury who there were question marks all around right from the get-go, but didn't really work out. They took the risk. They wanted that high leverage back end of the bullpen guy, and he just wasn't that. And kind of leads us into this trade deadline talk because that is one aspect that this front office did address is that the back end of this bullpen, whether you like what they did in general,
oh man.
the back end of this bullpen is much better.
This is a hot take I'm gonna give you, and I don't feel like it should even be a hot take.
Okay, before you do this, should we let Matt in?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, it is when it comes to the trade deadline, I will say that I feel better this morning than I did last night. I was a little bit disappointed, and it's the fan base is so funny how there is a portion of the fan base. Hello, Matt.
The
Uh,
fan base has poisoned you, Scott.
yeah, that's well. There's a
The fan
portion.
base is not happy with the trade deadline,
Some are,
but
some love it.
I am, and this is where I feel like, okay, hot take that I feel like shouldn't be a hot take. I love what we did at the trade deadline. It wasn't going all in. Like you look at what the Padres did. There are other teams that clearly went all in. We didn't do that.
Mhm.
But we did want to do what we did. Like it just feels like unfair to go into the trade deadline saying we need at least two top end bullpen pieces. Would really like top of the rotation starting pitcher. And yeah, a bat would be nice. And then
Mhm.
to basically address all of those needs, I mean, Ty France isn't a bat. We'll get to
But
that.
yeah,
But like whatever, we got two really good improvements to the bullpen.
I do
And
feel
Shane
like
Bieber's going to be fucking awesome when he
I
comes back.
I hope so too, man. Like, and I am hopeful that Bieber is that guy. So number one, welcome editor
Hey, Matt.
and intern and producer extraordinaire Matt. How are you feeling about this trade deadline 12
Uh,
hours later?
I got mixed feelings. It's I agree with Adam. We got exactly what we said we needed to get. We addressed our problems other than Ty France. But when you look at what the Yankees did and what like other teams are doing, it makes me feel so uncomfortable and just like praying that Vladdy heats up and all our
Hmm.
guys start to heat back up.
I think that is a big part of this equation is where do their current players fit into this contention window, right? Like, how is Varsho going to look when he comes back? Are we going to see Anthony Santander at all this season? And if so, is he going to be able to kind of find that power swing of his that is the whole reason that they brought him in over the offseason? And if so, when, right? So and then also Shane Bieber is risky. I really like the Shane Bieber acquisition because I think that they managed to get a guy who could be the ace without giving up Trey Savage and Arjun Damala, something that I was prepared to give up, but I know a lot of the fan base is pretty pleased that they did keep what is considered the future still in this farm system. So we'll go around the horn here and give our grades. I'm gonna start with just saying I think this is a B. Like I I don't yesterday I would have said C minus, and now that I've slept on it and kind of like been able to kind of take that rational pill, where I'm like, you know what, like truly they did address all the needs they had. You kind of summed it up well there, Matt, where it's like, yeah, going into the deadline, they did get all the check marks on what we're after, but I was hoping for a big move, you know?
Shane Bieber.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He's the big move.
Yeah. So, Matt, where are you at on Shane Bieber? How did you react to them getting him, and what do you think we can expect from him?
I thought that was a fantastic trade. From what we gave up Cal Stevens for Shane Bieber, which is just like, I thought that was a miracle trade.
Hmm.
I was like, a 1-for-1 Bieber for a prospect. That was awesome.
Huge
Like,
win.
you can't ask for a better trade. You're giving up one prospect for a Cy Young winner. That's like it's a fantastic trade. Yeah, he's injured. He's on the back end of his rehab stint. So
Yeah,
what, maybe like 3 weeks to a month, maybe at worst, we'll
at
see him.
worst,
Like
and
at
he
worst will
could
be
be.
the end of the month.
I know that all the updates that were provided said that he was at Double A his last start and hit 57 pitches. So
He's ramping up, and they
he's
and he's looking good. Like he's not
yes.
struggling with control. He's not walking guys. All signs point to it's just managing that workload. right? Like not overdoing it, not having a setback. So yeah, that's the risk. But the idea that there's risk in this is just like there's no downside to this. I mean, other than the Cal Stevens could turn into whatever, but that goes for anybody ever.
Yeah.
So
I think like it was the perfect move. It's such a good move. Like we slot him into the rotation. Like I don't know. I would assume Lauer keeps his spot in the rotation with how he's playing. Um, but you could even move Lauer to the bullpen, and then on Scherzer's days and on Bieber's days, you just give them 5 innings, really limit their workload,
Hmm.
especially when Bieber comes back. And then you have, like, you could have Eric Lauer give you length. You could keep him starting, which is what I assume they're going to do.
Kind of go to a six-man rotation.
Yeah, go into the 6 man, and then with the pieces they got in the bullpen, I have no problem with Bieber coming back, going 5 innings, even four, if
Hmm.
it's like really like he's really getting up there. I feel like a sense of confidence in our bullpen now.
I will say too on the glass half full stuff with Shane Bieber, the fact that he is hitting his location and isn't walking anyone is a big thing because Shane Bieber's arsenal isn't based around velo. It's not about ramping up his velocity. It's about hitting his spots. So not giving up walks means he's already really ahead of the curve when it comes to coming back from Tommy John surgery, especially when you look at a comparable, which is Sandy Alcantara out of Miami, and he's looked really good and he's got high strikeouts right now, but his big Achilles heel since coming back is location. He's walked a lot of guys. It's cost him because he has given up some home runs. And that's the thing when you start walking dudes is that you maybe start dialing into hitting the strike zone a little more and you start telegraphing shit right down the
Hmm.
middle and then you give up the long ball, right? So, hey, if Shane Bieber can stay healthy, that's huge. No
Yeah.
setbacks, get back, like slow play him. You're right. Like I'm fine with that. Slow play his rehab. If he doesn't pitch until the middle of August, end of August, that's fine. And it's kind of perfect timing to put this rotation into a six man, right? These guys are a little older. You got Max Scherzer, you got Chris Bassett. You know, when they put their walking canes down, yeah, they're ready to pitch, but maybe a little extra rest goes a long way, right? So this is all about how this shapes up for the playoffs, and I do really like the Bieber move. I think the Bieber move is the big move, and it is also the one with the most question marks, right? Because it would be a tough pill to swallow if there are some setbacks in this rehab. I mean,
Yeah.
fingers crossed that that's not the case.
I if we were to grade the trade, like the trade deadline, I'd give it like a B minus.
B minus.
Like
Where
B minus. I thought the one thing they needed was like a top four bat in the lineup, like which would have been Stephen Kwan if we
mhm.
got him. But like it just feels like the organization has confidence that Vladdy's gonna turn it around. The bats are gonna heat back up, and I don't have a problem with that because they've
No.
proven that they can.
And you know
And
what? You hear a lot of people talk about this Baltimore series like we should be reading a bunch into it. And I'm sorry. I just can't buy into that narrative. Like, I just don't buy it. And I hate to always be the guy shrugging, going, well, that's baseball. But that's fucking baseball, folks. Like I hate to just constantly lean on that, but this is one of the best teams in all of baseball right now. They've proven what they can do against above 500 teams. They're the second best team in all of baseball against playing above 500 teams. They're 10 games above 500 when they play a playoff caliber team.
I would
And Milwaukee's the only team ahead of that.
I would rather get the absolute piss beaten out of me by Baltimore than the Yankees. I'm
Yes.
no problem with that.
And Baltimore always plays this team hard. Plus, it was a weird set of circumstances going into it, right? They play an afternoon game against Detroit and then lose in the eighth inning. You know, like I shouldn't say they lost in the eighth inning. Obviously, Scherzer gave up that 3 run home run and then struck out 11 and allowed 3 hits for the rest of the game and looked incredible. So then they just the Tigers piled on the runs. That's going to happen in a 4-game series when you already have won 3, right? Maybe there is a little bit of a letdown. You go into Baltimore, it's the hottest freaking, and I know the Orioles were playing in the heat too. But you know what? Like you're on the road, you go into Baltimore, it's stinking hot, and then you play on the Monday night game into a doubleheader into an afternoon game. Like that's a lot of baseball in 3 days, right? Like that's a shit ton of baseball. And again, I'm not making excuses for the guys, but I even said this. I'm like, Mustard Tiger, shout out to our Patreon member Josh out of Winnipeg. But he was like, "Oh man, I sure hope that they go 4-4 in this Tigers Orioles run." And I was like, "Oh, they will. They'll go 3-1 against the Tigers, and then they'll go 1-3 against the Orioles." And he laughed. He's like, "Yeah, knowing this team, they probably will." And then it did happen, right? Like there is that letdown when you're playing a subpar team. We watched it against the A's going into the All-Star break. And I don't think that has anything to do with their mental fortitude or how tough they are when it comes to bearing down. It's just like they're not going to play those type of teams in the playoffs. So anyone trying to read into these shit series against these bad teams, I don't really buy it. Adam, what did you think of the bullpen ads? Sir Anthony Dominguez, we've got to see a
Um,
couple times in Baltimore.
yeah, I mean, I don't really know a lot about Dominguez other than he's looked good so far for
Mm-hmm.
us, and the numbers on the season look good.
Some
That's,
playoff experience in Philly, you know,
I mean, I'm happy with it. A bullpen is
year to year.
always a question mark in year to year. Yeah, you can't really look too deep at a guy's resume.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple guys, you can look at a Mariano Rivera and go, okay, yeah, the resume holds up. Sure, don't get me wrong. But yeah, every once in a while you get Eric Swanson at his peak and he's, dominant in August for you when you need him. So I don't know that both of the guys we got for the bullpen, I feel good about. And then the other side of it is, yeah, when Bieber returns, I know you guys are talking about 6-man rotation. I'm happy to dangle Bassett into the bullpen too. And now
Sure.
there's a third bullpen arm essentially that we've added at the deadline, right? So it's I'm really happy with the way this team's shaping up. Honestly, I want to give this team like an A for the deadline. I'm going to say A minus, and the only reason is we didn't go all in. You can't look at what we did and say we went all in. Not when the Padres did what they did, and some of the other teams like the Astros seem to have gone all in. We can nitpick what the Yankees did. Honestly, I don't feel like the Yankees made as big of a splash as everybody's making it out to seem.
David Bednar is a nice ad, but I will say this about David Bednar, and I know that this is probably copium, right? This is just
Okay.
me coping, but Pittsburgh Pirates pitchers have never faced a big moment in their entire careers.
It's true.
And going into New York, I mean, just ask Joey
Just
Gallo what
just wait till
a
the batteries start getting thrown at you.
just ask Joey Gallo what a pleasant place it is to pitch or to pitch to be when you're not performing to the level that they want. And you know what? New teams always sometimes there's some growing pains for new guys there, and there's not going to be a lot of rope in 2025. Is David Bednar? I mean, he's got years of control still. So is he going to be very good in that pen in 2026? Probably. We'll probably
Sure.
be cursing him. Do I expect him to be lights out in 2025? I think there is a big question mark when it comes to that. And to go back, swinging back to the Toronto Blue Jays, I do want to talk about Luis Varland for a second because I think he was a real under the radar acquisition. This is a guy with great numbers on the year, right around that 2 ERA. I know that that's not really the best metric to judge a bullpen arm, but if you're just going on walks, hits, inning pitched, whip, he's got a 1.1. You know, he has a huge fastball. Adam and I were talking about this in the preamble. Like, this is a guy who's topped out at 102 this year. Do you know who in this bullpen is throwing 102? Fucking nobody. So, like, that's a pretty big arm to add back there. His average is around 98. He's got a big, heavy slider that he also throws with good velocity. And as if that's not enough, he's got a really great out pitch with his knuckle curve. And for anyone who has fallen in love with Brandon Little's knuckle curve, picture a very similar pitch, but from the right hand side. So you know what? If you start looking at the way that this back end of the bullpen looks, and you've got Jeff Hoffman, and you've got Yariel Rodriguez, and you've got Sir Anthony Dominguez, and you've got Luis Varland. And I know that there's a big question mark around Jimmy Garcia, but he is slated to be coming back and start his rehab start right away. Like, those five guys at the back end of the pen in September, that is pretty darn good. And I haven't even mentioned Brandon Little. So, like, you know what? The bullpen looks good. The bullpen's going to be a strength for this team moving forward. And as for Ty France, I mean, we kind of touched on it, right? Uh, Depth, right-handed bat. He's a
Yeah,
legitimate first baseman. So, you know, like, I love Ernie at first, but Ernie is doing it just
He's not a first
because
baseman.
he is not a first
it,
baseman.
He's
And he
not
you
a
know
proves
first.
what?
that pretty
It
regularly.
felt like when we were putting Kevin Biggio at third base.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, like it's just like, okay, he can do it, but we're really asking him to do something he shouldn't be doing. So
yeah.
you really can't even blame Ernie for not doing it
No,
well, because
No,
it is a very different position and doesn't play to his strengths for sure. So hopefully we don't see that anymore. But yeah, I think Ty France is just a throw-in piece on that trade. I think it was we wanted Varland. They said, well, we want Roden as the guy that we want back, and we said, well, give us a warm body that can cover first, and that was Ty France. So
and
I don't know.
last,
I'm really happy with this. I'm glad the Yankees got Ryan McManahan instead of Eugenio
yeah,
Suarez. Like, this is where, like, okay, did the Yankees make more, like, a higher quantity of trades? For sure. But they didn't go out and get Carlos Correa. They didn't go, like,
their
all
defense
of
is
their
shored
moves
up a
were a
little.
little bit underwhelming, man.
Yeah.
Like, Camilo Duvall doesn't excite me either. Like, I'm not dreading facing Camilo Duvall in the eighth. I might live to regret this,
Yeah.
but I don't know. They didn't get a single piece that felt like a home run swing. Maybe Bednar.
Maybe Bednar. Grounds crew, drop your comments. Where are you at on this Blue Jays deadline? I know that the variance of opinions is pretty wide here because I was on Twitter or X, whatever the heck you want to call it there, and it was eye-opening. I was like, there are literal Blue Jays fans that are like, this is one of the biggest failures of this front office's tenure, and this team is actually worse. I don't know how you can possibly think this team is worse after what they did at the deadline, but you know what? There's people who are really unhappy with the fact Kyle Steven was moved, right? They viewed him as a true high-end prospect, and I know that there's a lot of hype around him, and he probably will be a top 100 prospect by the time Baseball America redoes their next list. That's fine. They got Shane Bieber. Like, you literally have to give up quality to get quality. You think you're going to get a guy who can turn into an ace, a game one of the playoff starter, and not give up something? Like, that's a pretty tall order for any front office. Um, Last and not least, and we're going to talk about Will Wagner because so many Blue Jays fans are big fans of Will Wagner. Wags was moved to for Brandon Valenzuela, double A catcher, and a lot of people were saying why. Switch hitting catcher, by the way. A lot of people were saying why. And I know, Matt, you and I talked about this a little bit when we were down in Buffalo and just talking about Will Robertson and why he hasn't had his opportunity with the Jays yet. Of course, he did wind up getting that opportunity and then was moved to the White Sox. Another move some people were kind of curious about. It's all about his handedness, right?
yeah.
Like, there's just so many left-handed bats in this AAA and major league system right now, which Adam is hilarious to me because, my God, this podcast is. We could have renamed this podcast "Get Us a Fucking Lefty," Like it's pretty much our main topic for like 3 years. But Will Wagner should get some opportunities to play in the majors now. And I think that he was just the odd man out when it comes to the lefty bat of it all. Any thoughts, guys, on Wags being moved? Like, does this
Well,
upset you at all?
it, I just don't know where he was going to get playing time in, like, what position do you put him in
Hmm.
with the way this lineup is? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he was playing some
So,
first base too. Another guy who probably shouldn't be there.
but so that's where I'm at. Is like if you've got MLB ready, MLB like push like 4A level guys that are knocking at the MLB door, who are we taking out to put in Will Wagner?
Hmm.
You know, I so in that case, all right, good luck. See you later.
And you know
There's no
what?
ill will, but like if a catcher can help us and we're worried about Kirk or Heineman or whatever, I don't know what the right answer is, but I would have liked to see Wagner get a different piece than just a switch hitting catcher in AA, but because that doesn't necessarily feel like it helps us immediately. Like
No.
if if Will Wagner had been a piece that helped us get Joe Ryan, I would
Yeah.
have felt a lot better about getting
Yeah,
rid of
of
Wagner.
course. Of course.
But also, Joe Ryan didn't go anywhere. So clearly, the asking price on Joe Ryan was absurd,
Yes.
um,
Especially after the
which is fine.
Twins literally unloaded everyone. So it's not
Every
like,
single player they had.
yeah,
Um,
so. Yeah,
yeah, I
and you
don't
know what?
know.
Will Wagner goes to the Padres, which is good for him. You know, he's going to another contending team. That's fun. Uh, uh, Alan Roden is kind of in the same boat we were just talking about, right? Lefty bat, that it's like, where is he going to get his reps? And now he's going to be an everyday major leaguer in Minnesota. Good for Alan. Like, that is so amazing. I know I mentioned in the preamble, sent him a message on Insta just being like, buddy, thanks for all your time. Appreciate, because Roden's a guy who's been on the podcast 4 times. He did a baseball town with us, right? Like, he's had nothing but generosity when it comes to his time, and I wish him all the best. And this is the best thing for his career, right? He's now an
Mhm.
everyday major leaguer. That's what these guys are trying to do. So,
Yeah.
um,
I personally I really liked the Will Wagner trade.
yeah.
Maybe we could have got a little bit more. Definitely agree we could have maybe got one more piece, but I like the switch hitting catcher.
Hmm.
I think like I think like what they're hoping is he's going to develop into the backup for Kirk in the
Yeah.
future. Like Heineman's doing good.
Sure.
Sanchez is an option.
Yeah.
But like kind of kind of weird option. And then like Phil Clark, this is another thing. Good catcher, lefty bat.
Yeah.
And it's like he would like like 2 years ago, last year, we'd be like, yes, lefty catcher. This is awesome. This is a gold mine. Now we're kind of like, we don't want anything to do with a left-handed batter.
Yeah.
I I think this guy will hopefully develop into a good backup for Kirk and just add some more switch hitting depth into the lineup. I thought it was a good trade, and yeah, Will Wagner 100% just fell in the he's a lefty bat and we have way too many. It's it's hard to like I wouldn't call it a failure. Like I know some people are very like against the trade.
Hmm.
And like I've seen on Twitter, some people are just like, this was complete like bullshit. But I
They
like,
also needed a spot on the 40 man, right?
yeah.
Like, this isn't, yeah.
There's also like there's so much behind the scenes of like how close were we to Quan? How close were we to another guy? And they desperately needed like another spot on the 40 man. Like there's so many different like scenarios. And we talked about this too, or like I texted you about this yesterday, is how close is Varsho? How close is Jimenez?
Yeah.
How much did that factor into like the Will Wagner trade? How much did that factor into maybe we're not getting a bat at the deadline? Like there were so many variables, but
That's funny.
I think they got the best they
We
could.
didn't even mention Andre Jimenez, who's on the verge of coming back. Also, he's starting rehab starts. So, like, yeah, you kind of are like, we could have used a bat, but we do have bats returning, right? And maybe they're not the most exciting bats, but if Jimenez gets hot or Varsho continues to hit for power like he did for the 24 games that he's already played for the team, I mean, the guy has 8 home runs on the season. Does Santander play? A lot of question marks, and that's the thing. I think that Blue Jays fans were maybe the ones that are really disappointed. We're hoping for a little bit more certainty, and I will give them that. There's definitely question marks about around some of these holes, but all in all, they addressed what they had to address, and now we just kind of see how it all plays out. Before we let you go, Matt, anything to add, buddy?
Um, yeah, I got one question for you guys. When Varsho comes back and when Jimenez comes back, who's going down?
Ooh.
Well, I don't know who has options.
I
Well,
know I'm Lo Perfido has options
so does Schneider.
and Schneider, but you kind of need the righty bat of
Yeah.
Schneider. It's a weird question because I was watching Blair and Barker a lot yesterday,
Hmm.
and they were talking about Nathan Lucas going down.
That's crazy.
They said it like very briefly. They're like maybe Nathan Lucas, and I was like no. I was like, there's no way.
I think La Perfido over Lucas, and I know how hot La Perfido has been. It's really interesting to me how much like the fan base can just like attach themselves to a guy and just really like, and there's a love fest going on for Joey La Perfido, and I like La Perfido. I think that he has a lot of potential and he's really hot right now, but I'm not sure the live and die with this guy of it all. I think that because he has options, I think Loperfido's probably the guy, especially if he cools down. It's a lot easier to send a guy down who's not hitting 400 and putting up bombs every fourth game. So, small sample size. So, you think that the baseball gods will readjust things here, but we'll see. That's a really good question, Matt. Adam, do you have an
Um,
answer here? I know you're probably pulling
I'm
up the
on Fangraphs right now with the list of options. Obviously, you guys touched on a couple here, but Nathan Lukes, Addison Barger, Joey Loperfido, Davis Schneider, Leo Jimenez,
I
Leo
forgot
and
Leo's
Jimenez.
then a
Yeah,
going.
couple guys in the bullpen. So Leo Jimenez, that's I think an
that's a for
obvious
sure
one
thing.
for
Yeah.
Andres Jimenez coming up. But you still got to replace Varsho, or you got to have a candidate for Varsho.
Yeah,
I
my
guess,
bet
yeah,
is
Luke,
Jimenez.
Slopper, Fido, or Davis.
Yeah.
Schneider, one of those three guys. Like Barger's not going anywhere for
No.
sure. So yeah, I guess one of those guys.
So if I were to guess, I'd probably say Loperfido and Jimenez then.
Yeah,
Leo.
I
Yeah.
totally forgot Leo was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
Perfect.
there you go.
Matt, great job, buddy. Really appreciate you coming on. And yeah, we'll get this to you when we're done and you can get it
And
up
I'll
on
be I'll
YouTube.
be watching it again
Get to
in 20
work.
minutes.
That's
All
right.
right.
All right, buddy. Thanks again.
All
Cheers.
right, thanks for having
Thanks.
me, guys.
Cheers.
See ya.
All right. So the Minnesota Twins. While I'm doing this, Adam, do you want to just pull up I'm sure there's a real quick ready list available of every guy that the Minnesota Twins got rid of. Um,
It was like a third of their team. I think they traded 11 players, including 4 from their bullpen.
I saw a
Um,
tweet that was like looking at the Minnesota Twitter page right now is kind of like looking at a or Instagram page is kind of like looking at a teams whose plane went down. Like it was just like so many names that they had gotten rid of, and like Carlos Correa was the big one. They paid
yeah,
$30
good for
million
them.
dollars.
Yeah, they got out from I think 71 million off of what they owed him.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them.
Yeah.
I I know there's like the black armband of it all of a team rebuilding, but if you're gonna burn it all down, burn it all down. The only
Yeah.
thing I think, I was gonna say the only thing I think they didn't do enough of was like they didn't go far enough. They could have gotten more for Joe Ryan, but with him being young, stud, like maybe he is the corner piece of the future.
The other thing that might have played into it is they may think that they can get more for him in the off season
Maybe. Yeah,
with
sure.
more teams vying for him, right? So I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll see where
But
that
you know what's
lands.
funny though is like, and I'm not like calling you an idiot for this because this is the thing everybody says, but just the absurdity of everybody saying it is during the trade deadline, the talk is, oh, we'll get more for him in the off season potentially, and then in the off season, the talk is, well, maybe they'll get more at the deadline. Like
Yeah.
there's just always maybe people will be more desperate, when they
Yeah.
feel close, but then also, yeah, it's just like a double-edged sword of,
Well, I mean,
you
the
know.
rumors were the Boston Red Sox went all in on Joe Ryan and were not even close. So I
Yeah,
don't
Fox
know.
posted, I think, a tweet that they got him
Yeah.
and then deleted it.
Yeah.
And then yeah, the Red Sox after the fact were like, no,
We
we
were
were not even
way off.
close to getting
Yeah.
him. Sounded like the Red Sox were not willing to part with players from their MLB roster to get
Yeah.
him,
Yeah.
and that's what the Twins wanted. But so I don't know, like with that as a context for it, that's where I'm like, I'm fine with giving the Jays like an A minus on this deadline because of what we did
Hmm.
and didn't do. Um, is it would I have rather had Joe Ryan than Shane Bieber? Like, yeah, Joe Ryan is doing it now. I think the ceiling on Bieber is higher
Hmm.
than Joe Ryan, but that's like that's an unlikely outcome
Yes.
that he returns to just Cy Young form immediately and dominates the next 2 months. Um, I don't know how that player option is going to work with with Shane Bieber,
Hmm.
but sticking with the Twins here and the Joe Ryan of it all, the fact that he didn't go anywhere makes me feel better about not getting him.
Absolutely.
The fact that the A's didn't get rid of what's his
Severino.
face, Severino. I'm like, okay, like if there was the guys that we were in on just didn't go anywhere. Like
Yeah.
we didn't
What's
get
his
Dylan
face?
Cease.
Severino.
Nope.
Everyone knows that name.
That's a great nickname.
Sandy
Um,
Alcantara, another guy, right?
didn't go anywhere. Dylan Cease didn't go anywhere. Like, okay, so then
Hmm.
what? We got the fucking by a mile best option. Sure, there's risks, there's question marks,
Hmm.
but we didn't give up Arjun Namala for Shane Bieber. That's where I'm like, okay, that's risky.
Hmm.
Like again, not to shit on Cal Steven, but
No.
I don't also feel like there's a really good chance we sold at his peak. Like, sure, he looked good in Dunedin, he looked good in Vancouver, has not looked good in his one start in New Hampshire. So
Yeah.
like, whatever, it's one start. Like,
Yeah. 4 innings.
that can be erased in two starts, right? But
Shoulder impingement right now, so he's on the IL. I mean, listen, you're right. There is a wide variance of outcomes for Cal Steven, and he's highly touted, and we could wind up looking back and regretting this. You know what though? If this team goes on a deep playoff run, I kind of don't give a shit what Cal Steven winds up being. I wish him all the best.
yeah, and Shane Bieber as a starter, I know the Cy Young that he won was in 2020, so it's easy to say, well, okay, he was really dominant for 2 months, for 60 games or whatever, 12 starts,
Yeah.
right? But the rest of his resume is also
Yes.
incredible.
Yes,
Like
it
it's
is.
not like it was one really good run and then the
Mhm.
rest he's been around like a 4.5 ERA and you're hoping that he can get back. Like for me, Shane Bieber feels like a when, not an if. So I'm fucking stoked on that.
Yes.
And that might be, I don't know. I'm going through our comment section. Everyone's like, oh, like he hasn't even thrown a pitch this year. It's like, no, he has. Not at the major league level,
Yeah.
but let's not try and pretend that he hasn't been throwing and that he's not close to returning. Like mid-August, he's going to be back.
Yeah.
Maybe late August. But this is absolutely a
And that's
huge
slow
add.
playing him, by the way. Like if he's back late August, the Jays have taken their time with him.
Right. Like I think he gets one start in Buffalo
Hmm.
and then he's back.
Hmm.
But I don't think he's going to give us 7 innings out of the gate.
And we don't
But
need him
man,
to.
We don't need him to. And whether it's a 6-man rotation and everybody in our rotation benefits from a little extra rest.
Mhm.
So everybody's numbers. This is the thing. It's like Shane Bieber might come back, might be a 6-man rotation, and he's given us like a 3.5 ERA, around what Barrios and Gossman are, right?
Mhm.
And you go, okay, well, that's not that sexy, but then everybody else gets that extra rest. So Bassett's numbers come back down, Scherzer's numbers come back down, and maybe Scherzer doesn't end up missing time because he's not getting overworked, right? Like there's just all those extra ripple effects of having another starting pitcher. And the upside of him just being a game one starter is like
Yeah,
he's a true like ace candidate for us.
he really is.
The
And I
ceiling on him is absurdly high. It's maybe the best pitcher we've had since Robbie Ray dominated for us.
Mhm. Grounds crew, go ahead and drop your comments. Where are you at on Shane Bieber? I know I've got a question for you here, Adam. I
Okay,
was on Sportsnet 590 The Fan with Daniele Franceschi
nice.
and Mike Gentile, and they asked this to me. They
Okay,
said the Blue Jays finished first or second in the AL, right? They get the bye past the wild card in this
okay,
scenario.
sure.
Who are you pitching in those first 3 to 4 games of that division series?
Bieber, Barrios, Gossman.
1, 2, 3. That's it.
Maybe Bieber, Gossman, Barrios.
Okay. Yeah, I pretty much said the same thing. I did throw out the idea of like maybe there is a world where you're playing a team that's very right-handed heavy and you decide, you know what, we are going to throw Eric Lauer in there just to give a different look and then maybe piggyback Max Scherzer off him or something, right? Like especially if you got this deep bullpen, maybe there is a world where 4 innings of Eric Lauer and then you go to your pen. I don't know. Drop your comments below as well, folks. What in a 5 game series, what order of pitching do you want to see here? Is Shane Bieber your number one? Shane Bieber's my number one.
I mean,
That's why you went out and got him.
this is why you went out and got him. This is there's a big asterisk here of we're calling this on August 1st.
Yes,
So
obviously.
like, yes, this is contingent on
A lot.
Bieber needs to come back, be healthy, and be Bieber of
Yes.
old, right? And it's also hanging on that Eric Lauer. If Eric Lauer finishes the season with an ERA that starts in the twos, sure, we'll have that talk.
Hmm.
I don't know what I love what we've gotten out of Eric Lauer.
Hmm.
I think he's going to be fine the rest of the way, and I think he should have a spot in the rotation. Like he's not my odd man out if we decide to do 5-man rotation.
Yeah.
It's a Scherzer Bassett situation, and then it kind of comes down to like how do either of those guys feel about the bullpen?
Yeah.
If one guy's going to be butthurt, and I think it would be Scherzer, I don't think Scherzer wants to be a bullpen arm, right? But if like Bassett's cool and like is a total team guy, and I only lean Bassett because like what we saw leading into the All-Star
Yeah.
weekend where he
And the
did pitch
fact
out
that
of
he
the bullpen
volunteered to do it. Yeah.
and whatever. So like I think that is going to become more of a factor, whatever. But I don't think Eric Lauer is going to give us elite numbers for another 10 starts, and I could be wrong. And if I
And
am, I'm willing to revisit that and not like scream at my TV
yeah.
when he's starting game number 2 for us.
Yeah.
If he's earned it, cool.
Yeah.
And because
And
we're still probably going to need someone to pitch game 4 anyways. So if that's Barrios instead of Lauer or Lauer instead of Barrios, like, okay.
there's
We're
a
not doing a
lot of
3-man
base.
rotation
There's a
in that
lot of
first round.
baseball
So
left too,
a
right?
lot of
Like
baseball for
a
sure.
lot of
It's a good
baseball
question,
left.
but very early. So
Very early.
I'm so stoked on Shane Bieber though. Like, oof.
I was shocked. It
Love his
was
new
not.
album.
Yeah,
Sorry.
not even a guy on my radar, honestly.
No, not at all. It was he was a guy that I wanted to go out and get the off season before his injury,
Yeah.
like January of 2024. I think he got injured April 2024. But he was a guy that I was like, oh, like we should go try and trade for him, seeing what he had done, all the years of control left.
Hmm.
But yeah, he's been off my radar. I mean, off everybody's obviously because of Tommy John. But
Yeah. We've
I mean,
got,
the prognosis must be good on his rehab, or I don't think we would have went for him anyways.
I agree. I think that there is risk involved here, but I think that it's a calculated risk and that they are pretty confident that he's good and ready to return, obviously, or they wouldn't have made the move. We're going to get into the schedule here, the last 52 games of the year, and August looks interesting. You know what? There is some room for this team to make some hay. They are playing some, for lack of a better way of putting it, garbage teams. They are playing Kansas City at home. Now, Kansas City slightly under 500, AL Central team, and got to beat up on the White Sox. They might even be worse than that. Colorado, they head to Denver 4, 5, 6 of August. Then they head to LA to play the Dodgers. They're playing the Cubs, so those are some really good teams. Then they play Texas, also a good team. And then they play Pittsburgh, Miami, Minnesota. So there's a 9 game stretch where hopefully they don't let down and you can see them, piling up some wins there. Milwaukee to close the month. And then we get into September. And this is where things get interesting because, oh boy, are they ever playing a bunch of teams that are going to be vying for playoff spots. So they start the month off against Cincinnati. And then they go to New York to play the Yankees. Then they come home to play Houston and Baltimore. Then a 4 game series, they fly to Tampa Bay to play in that minor league park. Then they play in Kansas City and then Boston and Tampa Bay at home to close out the month. That is a lot of AL East teams. That's a big 3 game series against Houston, which the truth is, that series against Houston, I mean, if they finish tied at the end of the year, it's going to play big. Houston obviously up on that season series right now against the Jays, so they really need to take 2 of 3 if they want to have the tiebreaker. And home field advantage, I mean, we have talked about how good this Blue Jays team is at home. You definitely want to be playing games at Rogers Center
Uh-huh.
versus the road. I mean, Chris Bassett is a Cy Young candidate at home and DFA candidate on the road. I've never seen
Start.
splits like this. It is just absolutely insane to me that this guy's got an ERA under 3 at home and an ERA pushing 6 on the road. It's just
It's the
wild.
reverse. What's his Fosse Severino?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh, what's his say? All right. Drop your comments below. Where are you at on this schedule? Are there any spots you're looking forward to?
And most importantly, what color Shane Bieber jersey are you getting? White,
Yes.
blue, or blue? Or
Yeah.
blue?
Or blue. Any
Don't
of the
forget
blues.
any of the blues. Could be Canada Day red. Um,
Imagine a Shane Bieber night mode jersey.
wow, that's
Damn.
electric.
Yes.
Um, Shane Bieber, just to reiterate, Alec Manoa was on everybody's radar, not as a like, oh, he could be our savior in August,
No.
right? But in a like, yeah, the timeline works out for him recovering from Tommy John to like he might be back in August.
Hmm.
He underwent Tommy John in late June of 2024. Shane Bieber underwent Tommy John in April of 2024. So like 2.5 months earlier than Alec Manoa. So just as far as the like Shane Bieber timeline for return is like we're not like pushing him, like this is well within a reasonable timeline for a guy to return from Tommy John. So I'm not.
And not to sound shitty, but it's also not like Alec Manoa is a picture of perfect fitness in his career. So, like, you know, is he gonna be ready before Bieber? He might not be. I know that he's ramping up right now. I heard something really interesting on Jays Talk Plus with Julia Kreutz and Blake Murphy, both friends of the show. And Manoah was brought up, and Murphy even said that he thought that, if when it comes to him coming off the IL, he's got that 40-man spot, he might be released.
No.
I agree. I doubt it. And these sort of things always look after themselves, right? Like, because of the depth and stuff like that. But who do you remove from the 40 man if he needs a spot? Now, there's lots of ways to massage this, obviously, right? Like, if his rehab, he's got lead up time. So the Blue Jays don't necessarily need to make a decision on this right away. So they could always slow play his rehab, but
Okay, no, he can't lose his spot. He's got way too much trade value and upside. Like you can't have gone through all of this
yeah, just to
and then
release
just
him.
be like, all right, go wherever you want. Go pitch for the Yankees. That's
Yeah.
fine. Like, no, hell or high water, he's got it. Like, I'm not saying give him a spot on the 26 man, but to just release him is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
Okay. I kind of felt that way too.
Yeah, hard pushback from me
I
on the
was
idea of releasing him.
I was curious as to how that would play out. He said it so offhanded too, right? So like I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, let's
That
wrap
feels
up.
like a take I would hear on TSN, not from Blake Murphy. Come on, Blake. Come on. Maybe it's just rage bait. I don't know.
All right. We're going to wrap up here. The Blue Jays coming home to Toronto after the off day yesterday. Most of Major League Baseball had the off day yesterday. Kansas City in town. The Royals playing the Blue Jays. Michael Walker is going to be starting for the Royals. And then we've got was he number one stud this time in Kevin Gausman?
Who? Gossman was number 3.
Number 3. So we've got our number 3 stud. And he's going. Man, I've been loving Gausman. His last couple of starts, he's had so much fire in him, like he definitely seems the most intense I've seen him as a Blue Jay. You can tell he smells the playoffs, right? Like
Yeah.
these old guys, man, I fucking love the veteran presence on this team. Like they're just such a fiery group. And I know that Kevin Gausman normally emanates that zen kind of hippie feel, but the last couple starts, man, I'm like, this guy is like, he's ready to break an iPad. Like this is Chris Bassett here. Like I'm going to go to tomorrow where it's Nick Cameron for the Royals, and then Max Scherzer is pitching tomorrow. Scherzer looked so good in his last start. That's the other thing that's really been good to see is, man, Max Scherzer is not just pitching well, like not just pitching, I should say, right? Like he's not just getting healthy. He has looked really good, and that's massive for this team. And then you go, Seth Lugo is on Sunday for the Royals against the Hound Dog, Chris Bassett, at home. Cy Young candidate at home, Chris Bassett. So should be a good little series.
Should be good. Do we have any expectations for the series or just like let
Just
it
win
play
it.
out? Just win it.
Just win it. Kansas City's 54 and 55, Blue Jays 64 and 46. Would love to see them take 2, and there's no reason they shouldn't.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll wrap it up there. Remember Baseball Town, 1 week. August 7th, Thursday, Left Field Brewing from MLB.com. Keegan Matheson. We've got Ben Schulman, play-by-play announcer for the Blue Jays. And then we've also got Jesse Rubinoff on the panel. Tickets for that are going to be available in the comment section or the description. Remember, if you use that code BASEBALL, you save yourselves $5 a ticket. And the place is filling up. It's going to be a fun little event. So come on down. We'll discuss the trade deadline in person. And also, by the way, we have an extended question period of almost 30 minutes. So everyone's going to get their chance to talk to the panelists and get your questions in. All right, folks. Thank you so much for following along. hit that like and subscribe button. Our subscribers are up. We appreciate all of the new Patreon. Our Patreon grows by the day, and that is all very much appreciated. We will talk to you all on Tuesday for mailbag. Cheers, gang.